Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there, and welcome to Season 9 of the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined by my co-host, Fran Attilio. Hi, Fran.
Hey, Gayla.
This season, we're exploring the theme, Don't Let the Start Stop You. It's a powerful reminder that while beginnings can be daunting, they're also the gateway to growth, success, and happiness. Throughout this season, we're going to be discussing how to push through those initial difficulties and take that important first step towards big goals, even when it feels overwhelming.
Yeah, Gayla, as we approach Thanksgiving, we thought this would be the perfect time to dive into a topic that's not only seasonally relevant, but also incredibly powerful for both our personal lives and our careers. Today, we're going to explore the transformative power of gratitude. Gratitude
that's
is
good.
This is like, and this is a word I just want to say, you can take any word and any practice and find the negative in it. Let's focus on the positive today. And gratitude isn't just about saying thank you or feeling lucky. It's a mindset and a practice that can profoundly impact how we view our lives, how we approach challenges, how we interact with others. So whether you're an entrepreneur, a professional, or someone simply where you're trying to live a more fulfilling life, understanding and harnessing the power of gratitude can be a game changer. So let's focus on the good side of gratitude and how we can make it work in our lives. So we're going to dive in and discover how cultivating gratitude can not only enhance our personal well-being, but also drive our professional growth and success.
I love this topic, especially around Thanksgiving, because that's when people tend to let's stop and be grateful around Thanksgiving. But this is not a practice for once a year. And the opposite of gratitude is what? Being ungrateful, kind of being maybe selfish. Having the knack of being grateful is easy during good times, right? It's easy to say, okay, I just got a raise, a promotion. I got all this cool stuff. I'm feeling really good. But when things are bad, that's when the gratitude habit really kicks into effect, right? It's easy when bad things happen, we're faced with life challenges, that we fall into this pity party. Have you ever had that?
Oh, gosh. Yes. I think as you talk, Gayla, it resonates with me it ties to something, and this ties to having those pity parties. As you guys know, I'm studying to be a yoga teacher. I'm in training right now. And in yoga, it's not just the movement. There's also some philosophy practices. And one of the first sutras in yoga is about longings, right? And how longings take away from your life. I think where you lose gratitude is when you constantly oh, I wish I had this in my life. Oh, why don't I have this? Why don't I have a better car? Why does that one have that? And there's all these longings for what you think you don't have, and you lose sight of what you do have. And sometimes what you do have and what is most transformative are actually the simple things. But that pity party, I think, comes in when you sit there thinking about what others have or what you don't have, and you get too lost in that. The practice of gratitude and what we're going to talk about today can actually lift you out of that.
I consider myself a kind of a naturally glass half full type person. I look on the positive aspect of life, but everyone is human. There's going to be some, we would fall into little pity parties, no matter how positive you may find yourself. However, there are some folks out there that's where they're at, or they're in a phase of their life that it's just really, really, really hard. And when really, really hard things happen, it's hard to think of the positive. And I've been there. There's been periods in my life that it's just been sadder or darker than others. But having the habit of gratitude and the importance of gratitude, it can't be overstated, right? Why is it important? Well, it improves our mental health, first of all. It reduces our stress. and our anxiety and depression, while increasing happiness and life satisfaction. Even if it's the darkest day and it's been raining for 10 days straight, is there one thing that you can be grateful for and it lifts your mood? So it's a great effect on our mental health. Also, expressing gratitude really helps with relationships. It strengthens the bonds with others and it fosters deeper connections and mutual appreciation. Genuinely saying thank you, even in a littlest manner, the other person knows that you appreciate them. You appreciate their actions. You appreciate that. And not taking them for granted. Also, it boosts resilience. It really helps us cope better, right? During adversity. And it helps us bounce back from setbacks more quickly. I don't know about you if you have an example of that, but when my brother passed away, it was very, very sad, obviously, going through that mourning. But just having the gratefulness of he was able to pass at home. That's where he wanted to. Family was all together. That type of stuff really helped deal with the mourning of his loss. Still to this day, there's a lot to be grateful for through that journey that my parents and my sister-in-law and I talk about. So it really builds resilience.
I get that a lot. I totally relate to that one. And I think, yeah, I think we can all, I do have a recent experience. I'm not going to go into the details, but I just know that because I practice gratitude and I practice meditation daily and I practice all these different things, there was a big setback that happened recently. When it happened, it was something took me by total surprise, did not know this thing was going to happen in my life. But literally while it was happening, I went, oh, these people are here. It's a good thing. They're my guardian angels. Look at this good thing. This is a good thing that's happening. And it was because of gratitude that I didn't focus on the thing itself. I could see the bigger picture and that this was the universe sending me a gift.
Right. Also, through that and connected with that, it increases our self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we recognize those good things in our lives, it instills our self-worth and our self-confidence. I've experienced that quite a bit. And when you focus on what you want more of, or you focus on what you don't have, and you're in that deep pity party, your self-confidence is cut down. So when you have, even during the most darkest times, you're saying, well, the sun is shining today. Okay, I'm going to be grateful for that. And no matter how big or small, just that little ping of gratitude helps us in our physical health. I've read that studies have shown that grateful people tend to take better care of themselves, to take better care of their health, and experience fewer aches and pains. It really transforms our perspective on life, right?
And you touched on two words there. So you have mind, body, spirit, right? So we talked about mind and spirit. In the body part, it's all rooted in science. Something people don't realize about us marketers. We study science because we need to understand how people's brains work. How are they responding to messages? How do they take on messages? It ends up being our own personal journey too, because we learn a lot about how we think and how our mind works. And the science behind what you just talked about is really fascinating with the brain. So one thing that we think about with the brain is that there are neural pathways are just set in stone. They can be changed. They can be changed. Your brain is a living muscle that can be changed, and you can change your neural pathways. And there are some really fascinating aspects of the brain that tie to what you just talked about and what is actually happening. So a lot of times we hear things like gratitude or meditation, and everybody thinks it's woo-woo or frou-frou, but it is actual science behind it. For example, there's increased activity in the medial prefrontal cortex. This is where we are learning and decision-making is. So if you're practicing gratitude, it enhances your ability to make better choices and learn from your experiences. It opens your mind. This is where the neural pathways change. because you're being open to saying, I didn't know that before. There's something to learn here from what I just went through. I just went through another pity party. Oh, wait, you know what? This is why I felt that way. And I'm going to learn from this experience. There's also the release of dopamine and serotonin. And these are our feel good chemicals. They're our neurotransmitters. When you practice gratitude and you start to live the way that we're talking about, Gayla, because I resonate with what you said before, glass half full. I have a sign over my desk that says, believe there is good in the world. It stimulates the production of these feel good chemicals. And that's where improved mood and emotional being come from. And again, thinking about what you walked us through, now, if you're able to practice gratitude, which leads to improved mood, you're feeling better about yourself. You're showing yourself self-love, self-care. You want to take better physical care of yourself because this mind shift has happened. It also activates the anterior cingulate cortex. That's where emotional regulation is. We are emotional beings who think. And so many people think that having emotions is a bad thing. Our emotions are talking to us. It's our body's way of saying, hey, there's something to pay attention to. The big shift there is to stop saying, I am sad. It should be, I feel sad. I feel sadness. I feel anger. And then why do I feel that way? And it's through navigating those emotions under the guise of gratitude, we can respond more positively. Oh, I feel angry because, or I feel anger because of this. And this is what it's triggered in me. I can now apply grace to the situation and approach it. You shouldn't be angry or feel angry. And again, not be angry, feel angry, and you let it out. But now, because of gratitude, you can navigate the situation better. The other part is that with enhanced neural sensitivity, in the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, which is the feelings of reward, regular gratitude makes us more sensitive to the experience of gratitude over time. So creating a positive feedback loop. So here, we've told our brain that first, medial prefrontal cortex, learning, decision-making, we're going to make better choices. We're going to learn from our experiences. We are releasing the feel-good dopamine and serotonin in our system. It's going to improve our mood. Now, that opens our brain up even more, and that anterior cingulate cortex, we're going to be able to regulate our emotions, look at our emotions. And this goes for men and women. Men, you have emotions too, and they're okay. And now we've really made the brain an active, awake system in our body. And that last part where we take the ventromedial prefrontal cortex and it's our feelings of reward are activated, they're all connected. Now we want to keep practicing gratitude because we feel that positive feedback loop. It really shows these neurological changes. And the first step is the awareness that we can change our brains and we can change the feedback loop in our thoughts, and how cultivating gratitude can literally reshape the physical, how our brain works, really leads to improved mental health, better decision-making, increased emotional resilience, all of this to make our lives better. This is not frou-frou. This is rooted in science. And I get excited because I love science. So to know that we have the power and ability to change our thoughts every day. And gratitude is a great way to start.
It doesn't happen overnight. Gratitude is a habit. But I love what you said, and I found that interesting, is like once you start this, then you want more of it, and it builds. And that's the whole thing of don't let the start stop you. It's the tiny efforts that build into bigger efforts and get to bigger dreams accomplished. I love the science behind it. I'm fascinated. Gratitude really helps us personally and professionally alike. For example, with Robert in my marriage, I really thank him, like I over the top thank him for making the bed when he does, loading the dishwasher, doing some stuff around the house. Sometimes I ask him for help. Sometimes he just does it on his own. And I go ahead and thank him. Other wives that I have known, they might complain that it's like, my husband doesn't help me, doesn't make the bed ever. I ask him all the time, or he doesn't load the dishwasher. One lady that I used to work with, I remember distinctly that she was complaining so fiery about her husband loading the dishwasher. Not exactly right, but then he would unload it and not put the dishes in the exact place where they're supposed to go. And I said, hold on, hold on. I hear you saying that he's unloading the dishwasher. Thank him and move on. If you lose a bowl somewhere in the kitchen, just ask him where it might be. Because why would you want to repeat the action if the other person does not appreciate what you're doing? In some people's minds, it's like, well, it's expected. I don't get a thank you for doing the laundry. I don't get this. I don't. That's going down the path of, A, you're getting into your pity party. But the more I say thank you for doing the little things around the house to Robert, you know what? I get thank yous back.
Yep.
Right. And
Yes.
it just makes the atmosphere of the house so much better. Now, I have a husband that's I'm gonna joke, he's moldable.
We love you, Robert.
Right? We have that type of relationship, and I know that he truly appreciates me. And he has learned over the years to express his appreciation
Yeah.
in many ways, and that has helped me in my personal life.
I really resonate with this in my family life too. I have two girls who are, I'm very blessed that I have the girls that I have. When I was younger, the word chores and what chores meant in my household was not a pleasant experience. So I made up my mind as I grew up. When I became a mom, I wanted to create a different environment in my home. So I don't call them chores, I call them helper items. And I explained to my girls early on that helper items are a way that, because we love each other, we help each other out. And like, so now obviously they're older and they do it well, but like when they were little, they might do things not quite exactly right. And I would never criticize. I would be like, thank you so much for for making me that meal, even though it was M&Ms and Cheerios, or thank you,
Right?
which is a real story. Shout out to Maddie. And just appreciating what they did try to do. They're still little people at a time. Now, as they've gotten older, I don't even have to ask sometimes, or if I ask, they just jump to it because they understand. And we've raised in a concept of I'm going to appreciate what they do and how they do it. It also reminds me of something else in gratitude. And you touched on it with when people say, well, I don't get this back. If you don't express what you're feeling, how can the other people read your mind? No one's a mind reader.
No
So
one is.
no
No.
one is, right? So by telling my girls, this is what I need, this is what I expect. I expect us to help each other out in the house. But I also love what you said about it not being done exactly the way I would do it, or having a little grace. My one daughter, my youngest right now, is still in college. And just this mention of that word, everybody knows what that feels like between all your schoolwork and studying and other obligation and clubs. And she's in a sorority and all these things. When her room isn't quite what I would like it to be, that's okay. I can shut the door. I
Mm-hmm.
stop and think, what else does she have going on? Oh my gosh, she's in class for 12 hours today. Let her be, you know? And then when the time is right, which, and I don't hold back on these things. When I say it to her, because she understands that I'm coming from this place of helper items and we're trying to just better environment in the house, she's like, yeah, I'll get it done. And it gets done. So reframing it both in how appreciating other people, but reframing it in your mind is a big part of gratitude too.
And transferring that into the workplace, just saying thank you in the workplace. I mean, I am grateful each and every day of who I work with, my clients. I mean, I may not express it every single day, but I try to. Because I appreciate the challenges. I appreciate the solutions we have to come up with because challenges come up. I appreciate the learning experience. I appreciate the work that people go through, but it reminds me in the workplace of how powerful a simple thank you can be in the workplace. hearing a thank you or an expression of gratitude motivates you to be more productive. I mean, it really does, or motivates you to, in a positive scenario, more productive than if you have a workplace culture that's very negative. Many years ago, I worked in a physician's office that had like 14 physicians, and I was a supervisor over the front desk folks. The culture in that place was not the best. Not the best. But I was fairly new in that particular office. There was one of the physicians that I thought he just hated me. I just thought it. I was in my mid to late 20s, and I was this young supervisor, and I was trying to bridge this communication because there's this rift between the nursing, the back office, and the front office. It was just a bad culture is what it was. But this one physician, he was high strung and to the point I thought honestly he hated me. But one day, right after lunch, I came back to my area, and on my computer there was a sticky note that changed everything. Everything, my whole perspective of working in that office. That physician wrote me a handwritten note saying, "Thank you for working so hard." That meant so much. And then years later, he was just, that was his personality of being really intense and being a young 20 something person thought, oh, he hates me, because he didn't do any of the frou frou, hey, you're doing a great job very often. But when he did, it made a mark. Years later, when I transferred to a different department, he really ribbed me and saying, oh, you're making a mistake. He was going to miss me and all of this stuff. So it turned out really great. That little sticky note made a lasting impression 25 years later, right? So
I totally get that, Gayla. In my very first real job, I worked for a major retailer and I was in product development. His name is Jay Carruthers. Jay Carruthers was the president of our company at the time. And I say that name because it is one of the names that I carry with me as a role model of how to be. He was the president. And every Friday came down to talk to us. And he sat with each and every one of us, even if it was for 2 minutes. How you doing? You okay? You need anything? And then he'd throw us ice cream parties or buy us pizza. This was a major retailer, major, major, major. And his kindness, knowing our names, thanking us for what we were working on. And if you did have something big going on, he knew it. And he'd come down and say, hey, how's that going? You good? That kindness, I always say, appreciation motivated me more than money. I wanted to work hard for him. And you'd see him, the president, like the big head top of the company, he'd walk by. And you know how when an executive walks down the hall and you might feel like, oh, I can't say that, he'd wave and say hi and acknowledge you. So it taught all the people under him to treat people the same way. It was like this beautiful ripple effect. And that's something else that I think about this when we do it in both professional or personal. Someone told me recently, there is a gentleman out there who talked about, and I'm going to blank out on his name, but how when you think negatively, you only have more of a one-on-one impact. But when you think positively, you actually affect 10 plus people around you. And I think that's what gratitude, and that Jay definitely did that. It was just life, corporate mindset cracked wide open. I can still see his smile to this day.
And when setbacks or a launch didn't work, instead of framing it of total failure, because I don't believe in failures, I believe in learning experiences. I think you and I have both. I mean, it's just kind of natural as entrepreneurs. We might invest in something that didn't really pan out. And instead of dwelling on, oh, that was wasted money that maybe I should have used somewhere else, it's like, okay, what did I learn from this experience? And have that gratitude that you had that learning experience because you're going to do it differently the next time. Or it may be something's like, I tried that and there's not going to be a next time, right? So it's all a great learning experience. And like I said earlier, practicing is a habit. You could practice it in good times to to prepare you for the bad times, or you could start in the bad times to pull you out of some negativity. Continuing with the habit during bad times or challenges in life is harder. But when we have these ungrateful thoughts, examples of ungrateful thoughts are like a sense of entitlement, increase focus on what's lacking rather than what's present. And what else, Fran?
Oh my gosh, negative emotions. I'm always big on the emotions thing because our emotions are indicators to us. That's what completes the mind body spirit connection, right? To be in connection with your body, you have to know what your emotions are. What you're feeling is sending you a signal that you have something you have to address. So if you feel resentment, dissatisfaction, anger is a big one. When you feel anger, there's something your body's trying to tell you that you got to pay attention to. In bad times, and you're facing life's challenges, you can lose sight of that personal growth and relationship building. You touched on that earlier. If you're on a path of personal growth, it might go on pause for a moment in bad times. You might not see that way forward. Relationships may go on pause because you're just kind of stuck in the muck. And that's okay. It's okay to not be okay and to be in a bad time. We can do hard things. The difference is, do you let it pull you down completely and set you back and put you back to where you started on this journey? Or do you just take a pause? So the way you described that, you don't like the word mistakes. I feel the same way. I call it a fall because I have that visual of the willingness warrior, and the fall is they've gone down, but they're going to get back up. May not be right away. They may not bounce, but they're going to get back up. So I think that our mindset is that drawing of the line between gratitude and ingratitude. So we understand we are grateful people, even in the midst of a bad time. You're not going to necessarily appreciate or be grateful for the bad time, but we appreciate life itself. We appreciate that there's still air in our lungs. We appreciate that the earth is still turning, because if it didn't, where would we be? So we can really value that grateful mindset in our personal and professional experiences, no matter what times are hitting us.
The practical tips that we have to practice gratitude. And there's three main ones that we should be in the habit of doing. One of which is a gratitude journal. Now, I know that you practice journaling quite a lot. What does your gratitude journal, what's the framework of that? Do you have a blank sheet and you just start from there? Do you have writing prompts? What do you do for your gratitude journaling?
I love sharing this, and I'm smiling right now because my gratitude journal has evolved. It is called my Sparkle Journal. And what sparkles in life to me? Sometimes it's a prompt as simple as, and I have several prompts, but the idea is not to be so rigid for me. I'm an Aquarian at heart, so I like things that flow, and we both are. So in the journal, there's a few key prompts. The first is a typical I am grateful for, but to remind myself, not just the big things, not just I'm grateful for my house or my job or my kids. I'm grateful for this cup of coffee that tastes so perfect this morning. I am grateful that I finished cleaning that closet. I'm grateful for the sun shining today. Like, I know this sounds woo-woo, but it really works, right? Because then when stuff comes along that day, those thoughts are in my head. Sometimes my gratitude is for things I witness, people I see, or things I notice that bring sparkle to the world. I'm a big believer we should bring sparks, not scorches. So I look for what inspires me. And sometimes that journal is with, and this one happened a lot in the last several years of owning a business. I'm grateful I got out of bed today.
Right? And that can be a simple sentence and the
That's
only entry
yeah.
in that. And you can do this at the beginning of the day to set your tone. But another thing and that I've been doing is writing down at the end of the day, what was my biggest win?
I love
Because
that.
we have we do this to ourselves. We have endless to dos, and we do this to ourselves, and we're highly motivated people. And at the end of the day, if you're like, oh, I didn't get these 10 things done on my checklist, oh man, if you're focused on that, then your mind is racing right before bed. It's like, that's the first thing I need to do in the morning. But if you focus on what was my biggest win, it might have been your schedule might have been just blown out of the water, but there's got to be one win out of that. And writing it down seems to make it real.
Gayla, what you just touched on is huge. Gratitude, we talked about this earlier, is a practice. You don't wake up one day and know exactly how to be grateful. It's something you practice, right? And we talked on, and we'll talk about more how you express gratitude to others, but expressing gratitude to yourself, saying thank you. Thank you for what you did today. Thank you for that win. Thank you for keep going through whatever life threw at you. It will also help sleep, and that ties to the science of the brain, which we won't dive back into. But starting and ending your day, or just in the middle of the day, anytime that feels right, flow with it and just grab that moment. But I love that end of the day to say, thank you, me. Really proud of you. You did a great job today.
A second way is being intentional, expressing gratitude or thanking others, whether it's each other, your husband, your wife, your kids, your colleagues, the checker at the store, the person that bags your groceries, saying thank you for the littlest things. We take things for granted and take people for granted. So being intentional for saying thank you to others in the littlest ways, it speaks volumes. And then the third way is expressing your gratitude mentally, like through meditation or reflection. Some people call it prayer, right? It is, it's whatever you want to call it, but just getting into this mode to where you're taking a break from what's going around you and expressing gratitude. It gets that self-talk, negative self-talk kind of brushed away when you do that. I like when you actually write it out because it seems more real. But there are times you're sitting in traffic and that you're at a standstill and you're tense. It's a good time to just close your eyes, meditate a little bit, say a little something that, like, man, I'm so glad that I have a full tank of gas right now. Things like that will change your perspective.
I want to mention sometimes when people hear meditation, they think, oh, I can't do that. I can't quiet my mind. I can't stop thinking. It's not what meditation is. No one can perfectly shut off their brain. We're thinking beings. The beauty of meditation is to be gentle with yourself. And when thoughts come up, I always picture it like someone's just kind of lifting a hat off my head. And I'm just saying, okay, I see you. I see that thought, but I don't want to think about that right now. Sometimes also in meditation, the thoughts that come up are the ones that it turns out you need to address. So you think, you lift it, you move it over here, and you say, okay, if that's what's on my mind, how do I move forward with it? What's my next best step? So meditation, reflection, prayer, all beautiful words. And it's not about asking for someone else to fix things for you. It's about trusting and knowing you have the answers right inside of you and just getting connected to them.
I love that. Let's wrap up by saying happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thanksgiving is an all year practice, not just around the holidays and having the holiday decorations up and expressing our thanks. It is an all year practice. And I am so glad that you were here listening, but listening is the easy part, right? Now it's your turn. Do you have a gratitude habit in place? If so, what is it? We'd love to hear from you. You can post it in Facebook. We've got the links down in the show notes. Do you journal? Do you meditate? Do you do both? How intentional are you with thanking others around you for big things, for little things? You know what I'd like to do, Fran? I'd like to give a gift to our listeners. I would like anyone that's listening to have a don't let the start stop you journal. I think that would be kind of cool.
That's right.
For all you have to do is just pay the price of postage, and I will send you a physical journal. It's a blank canvas, and you can have your own prompts. You can either begin your gratitude journaling journey, or you can continue it if you already are in the habit. All you have to do is go to livefullworkfun.com and /journal and enter the info, and I'll just pop one of those in the mail. I'd love to hear from you. You might as well get started now. I think
I love
that'd be
that,
kind of cool.
Gayla. I think that's super cool. I think that's super cool. Well, in kind, I'd like to offer a free download to our listeners. I am super grateful to you and to them for letting me be part of this journey. I'm excited about this second season together. So there is something that helps me every day, and it sits above my desk on the other side, which says, what can I do in this moment with what I have to keep moving towards my goals? This is my motivator especially when I'm really tired. It's been a hard day. Life has thrown some hard things at me. Is there something I can do? And sometimes that is rest. Sometimes that is get myself a good meal, not just grabbing a protein bar. Sometimes that is saying, nope, I'm going to get up off this couch and I'm going to go finish that email. Whatever it may be, can I do something to keep moving forward? So if you go to 10touchcreative.com /flow forward, you could get this download. We're going to have a PDF, and there is a PDF and some backgrounds if you want to put it on your phone or your tablet or even your computer. There'll be both digital and print downloads for our listeners.
That is awesome. Well, thank you, Fran. So why not start today? Make sure that you express at least one act of gratitude today. For our appreciation, we have some free gifts for you. Go to livefullworkfun.com /journal to get your journal, or go to 10touchcreative.com /flow forward to get your freebies. Thanks again for listening. We appreciate that you're here with us on this journey with us. And until next time, remember to always live full and work fun.